Thank you so much, Sagar, for joining us on this podcast at Dawdle Live.
Hi, very good morning. How are you?
All well, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we go to the
Thank you.
topics for our audience, we'd like to introduce you first of all to give it, context to our audience. So, Sagar is a strategic HR and business consulting leader. He comes with over nearly 2 decades of experience across telecom, education, retail, and services organization. He has led large-scale HR operations, workforce transformations, and talent strategies for workforces of 1,000+ employees across multi-location environment. He is currently an independent consultant. He partners with leadership teams on people strategy, organization effectiveness, and performance framework. He is known in the industry for driving HR digitalization, compliance excellence, and sustainable workforce growth. Welcome you, Sagar, again, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Rishikesh, for the wonderful introduction and really was looking forward for this session.
So, the first topic, which is very close to your heart, and I know this, is that you argue that HR can't be a business partner until it has actually left the business. Can you share a
Uh,
few defining experiences, sir, from your career that permanently changed how you practice HR?
sure. The point that you have taken up is very close to my heart and I live by it actually. I'll give you a brief introduction like where my HR journey started. So I joined one of the major telecom operator at that point of time in 2008. And at that point in time, it was the only largest telecom provider in the country. And there we joined as a management trainee. Now the management trainee program was such structured that for the first 6 months, you don't have any designation. You're just a trainee. And that too not an HR trainee. You're just a trainee. And this first 6 months, you say alternate 15 days, 2 weeks, or something like that. The durations were, the entire table was formed. You work with different functions. So you're placed in accounts, you're placed in SCM, sales, telecom network people. They're also in different infrastructure development and all those things. You at that point in time we used to have that postpaid collection calls and also you sit with the postpaid guys as well, recovery calls. So these 10, 15 days each with for the next 6 months. And at the end of the day, if you have any energy left, then you can be an HR guy at the end of the day because either you're on the field with the sales guy or either you are there with the field engineer where the trenches are being dug up to lay the fiber optical cables. I've been into the trenches as well. So I know how much length it has to be dug so that you need to lay a fiber optic cable. Why I'm telling you all these stories is because that laid the foundation. And also we had a great leader at that point of time. He was our CHR at that point of time, Sri Larki Krishnan sir. And I really have high regards for him because he was the one who picked around say 30 or each from every session and every cities for the enterprise business. So we were part of the enterprise business of that particular telecom organization. I still don't forget, still recall rather and follow it day in and day out. Your HR starts from the guard, or the sentry guard is there in your building, whether it's a commercial fully owned by the organization or it's a shared building as it's prevalent right now. But you need to know the guard's name because when he used to come and the building was partly owned by the operator as well. So we had liftman, we have two security force guys in the secure reception area. And they used to rotate, right? So 1 month he used to come, he used to see different security guards, and then out of the blue, he used to ask, "Do you know the security guy? Just call him." And you cannot call him just, "Please come." You need to name that guy. You say, "Rakesh, please come, sir is calling." That's how he used to test us. And this thing I always follow with my subordinates as well, because that's where your human resource angle starts from. Now, why people are failing or why HR particularly, I have like people have started demeaning. I take it very personally being an HR guy. HR to run. When you open Instagram, you see thousands and thousands of lakhs of likes for the short videos of making fun of HR. But I never see 1,000 HRs commenting below. That's the analogy. That we are enjoying that people are making a joke of us. These are the typical statements that are made against HR. And I strongly agree, HR themselves have created this. Because somehow HR has turned into a jargon war. How many jargons that you know in terms of how many jargons you can pronounce in a day? You come suited booted in the office, stand alone, you sit on your desk, sit the entire day on your desk. People are just employee codes for you. And whenever it is attrition, like they are not loyal to the organization. Now again, I'm going to bombard again. Why do you need loyalty from an employee? You tell me when you hear the word loyalty, what does come into your mind? As an animal that is kept as a pet?
Yes,
Or the
yes.
horse, Chetak, Maharana Pratap ji, That's loyalty is referred to, right?
Yes.
You're paying somebody for his knowledge, his work. So it's a mutual transaction, just an agreement, the offer letter and the appointment letter. So why do you
Mm,
need loyalty?
mm,
If you need loyalty, then pay them free for work, without work, right? So one thing is this. Second being where I was there,
mm,
Rangoli HR. Now, where do we lack in terms of is the business knowledge? See, this is the buzzing word right now is called HRBP.
mm,
For last 17 years, out of that almost 12, 14 years, I've been into the core HRBP. I was part of the operations and then I moved into the
mm,
HRBP. Now, what do people pursue or as HRBP? What do they like think? I have an HR analytics dashboard. I see how many confirmations are pending, how many attritions are there, what are the voluntary, involuntary, and so on and so called. All these lists come up in your mind. But when the same person is asked, what was the sales report yesterday?
yes.
Did we grow up in sales with respect to the last month? What is year on year growth? What is YTD? What is MTD? These are the jargons we fail to understand as a nature. And
Mm,
you expect that people will listen to you. Why would they listen to you? Let's accept the fact that HR domain, HR, some parts, accounts, administration, SCM, we are all cost functions, right? That's how we were taught. We are cost function. That is
mm,
what the top leadership always says when there's a meeting. एचआर का बजट ये है यार, एचआर वाले बहुत खर्चा करवाते हैं। किस चीज पे खर्चा करवाते हैं? रंगोली पे, पिकनिक पे। दैट्स रिक्वायर्ड, नो डाउट, बट अगेन ऑल साइज डजंट फिट everyone, right? Like there are functions going on or celebrations going on. You take out all your employees to a 5-star hotel. I've personally seen in my life people coming us to us and say, "यार इससे तो अच्छा half day दे देता."
right. Yes.
So everybody doesn't enjoy. Maybe the youngsters enjoy. You have a
Mm,
open booze party and it's
mm,
an informal party and everything, but there are certain sect of employees who will not enjoy this. Their motivation levels are different. Second, you have not lived a life on HR unless you have lived the life of the other functions.
mm,
Why I say so? See, Rishikesh, this we are the only department who takes an interview of all the departments.
mm,
Does a finance guy takes an interview of an SCM guy? Never. Marketing guy takes an interview of a sales guy? No. But every candidate who enters the organization, the
mm,
only person common in for all the departments is HR. So that's a huge responsibility on our shoulders. Unless so, if you don't know the business, if you
mm,
don't know how the business operates, if you have not lived the life of that business, you are just a ornament in
mm,
the interview. That's my personal thought process.
mm,
Because say you are taking an interview of a sales guy, have you even sold a single pen
mm,
in your life? Then what's
right.
your credibility to ask that guy what had been your performance level? Why are you trying to leave this current organization when the organization is doing well?
Mm,
But when I sit in the organization, I ask him 4 or 5 questions only related to sales. What
mm,
has been your growth? What has been your margin? Give me distributor ROIs in a distribution level. When
mm,
you interview a guy, that is the main point, ROI level. What is your ROI of your distributor? What is the level of the secondary sales, primary sales, the tertiary sales? That's where we fail. Same again, if as an HR, you're taking an interview of a supply chain management guy. You need to know how an e-bill is generated, way-bill is generated. Presently, there's the GST implications on all. So, without GST, e-way bill, the good movement will not happen. Do
mm,
you know what is SRN, GRN, and all the nomenclatures that they use to somewhere, some point of the time to avoid your work? अभी तो एसएपी में एसआरएन नहीं हो रहा है. Now you
mm,
think, oh my God, that's a very tough thing that they're going through us because you don't know what is SRN. It's a simple thing, service receipt note
mm,
or a GRN, goods received note. But you don't know, it becomes a technical hitch for you. Oh my
mm,
God, such a great job. Same for the finance. Now, as an HR, the primary responsibility when you grow up the ladder is to understand the budget. Yesterday we had for personally me, it was a fabulous because it's a build India budget. We
yes.
need to build up the country. But what do we think? इस बार taxation में ये नहीं दिया है. The slabs
Mm,
have not been changed and this and that, only that much. But what that entire budget has implications on my industry, the organization that I'm working on, the industry that it belongs to is more important than the tax slabs,
yes.
right? That's where the understanding level is different. And when you speak these languages with the accounts guy, then the
Mm,
one there जानता है.
mm,
इसको हम घुमा नहीं सकते हैं because in an organization let's accept the fact it's always a ball being
yes.
passed on to each and every department. The more you know of the other department, you know their advanced moves. So obviously, there's always a tussle between the organization. He thinks my work is priority. I think my work that has been given to him is priority. And these conflicts go on. But when you have lived their life, I have been into IT transitions. When I was there in my second tenure of a telecom organization, it was an MNC from Russian MNC. There was an IT transition going on. There was no use of us. But somehow I stayed that night with them. What did I do? I ordered food for them. I went down for the breaks with them. But next day onwards, I saw, I would not say a huge change, but yes, the people's perceptions changed. Somebody said, "Can you just get me that hard drive from that cabin, from Sir's cabin?" Yeah, sure, I'll go. So I was just there physically living their life.
Yes.
When we used to handle sales, we used to handle in my third telecom operator that I worked for, used to visit the outlets which were in the tehsils and all the smaller towns. Now, there what happens is there's a CCTV camera, the SLP team monitors is, but from a camera, you cannot see the dust level that is being spread over by the years. That guy, if he or she cannot ascertain his importance as a brand ambassador in that particular store, catering to the nearby vicinity, the population of say 1 lakh, 2 lakh, as per the gradation of the towns, you will not make him understand by issuing a letter that your store was dirty when we went there and found out. No, you cannot. The other way around, what I used to do personally and my sales set, obviously, I used to take the broom or I used to take that dirty cloth and clean the racks. I have broomed the store myself. There were stickers, the brand stickers. You have those stickers there in the SIM boxes. When the customers used to open the boxes, they used to throw them because it was just a logo for them. But for us, that's where I'm earning my bread and butter.
Right.
Why would I have to issue a letter or just send mails to employees to ask them to wear their ID cards? I still don't understand. That means they are not confident or they don't relate to the organization goals because they are the you need to make them understand that they are the brand values. It's my indirect marketing when thousands of employees of an organization spread across India. Where's the ID card? You are actually reducing your marketing expenses. It's an indirect marketing going on. So
Yes.
when I used to hold the groom, I never tried to insult that guy. After I had finished, and then he used to like, sir, please chhod dijiye, sir. Agle baar nahi hoga, sir. I'll do it myself, sir. And I'm see, I did not do this to make you feel bad because I think this store is also mine. It is your store. You are the store manager out here. But working in corporate and also the area, I'm looking after the area as an HR head. I own this store because तुम जो पैसा यहाँ से कमा वो मेरे सैलरी में तुम्हारे सैलरी में भी CXO के सैलरी में भी जाता है एंड प्रोमोटर के सैलरी में भी then he understands the effect and trust me Rishikesh, the next 15 days or after 1 month when the cycle used to come because I had almost 162 64 odd stores lying in around 14 centers spread across 6 districts. You could see the visible change in that person because now he understands without a letter or without that I am important to the organization. When you move along with that guy to a distributor or a retailer sitting on the back of his bike and then you say, why you're not wearing a helmet? Where is your helmet? Sir, it's just nearby. And I know. So you don't have to give a SOP of an employee safety protocol the employees. You live that with the employees. I will not let you move unless you bring 2 helmets, one for me and one. That's one part. Then we used to have the sales days and also I never stayed back in office during the sales days. We had a launch of a phone. So we were there in the market. Me and my team were in the market in different outlets. And we literally, you have seen this canopies, the small canopies right outside the metro stations and all. I used to stand there with that guy and successfully in my, like, I was the first person in non-sales function who sold 2 phones in a day on the day of launch. And I got a special recognition from my सर्कल हेड एंड सेल्स हेड कि ये एचआर का बंदा होकर एचआर का बंदा 2 फोन बेच दिया. Now,
Yeah.
the pressure was one on the sales guys who could not sell a single piece.
Right.
कि HR आके 2 बेच दिया. That is how you create that pressure. I know what you are doing on the field. Analytics देख के sales तो downward है. Now we also had a HR analytics, so we used to see all the dashboards and everything of each and every centers of the employees, managers, all this. I used to go to office half an hour early. My sales head used to be there or his MIS. I used to first see the sales dashboard and then join the sales con call. I did not participate in that. But I know whenever I meet some manager on the field, I can ask him, that day sir was telling that this point of yours is not going. Why is it not? तब वो समझता है, अरे एचआर सिर्फ रहने के लिए कॉल पे नहीं रहता है, उसको समझ में आता है. So that's how you create that HRBP model. Again, मतलब HRBP वैसे नहीं होता है. Unless you have lived the life of that particular function, you will not be ever able to support business. You will not be justifying as a business partner. You will be just an MIS guy seeing the Excel sheets. That's it. अब जैसे हम लोग बोलते हैं ना, I'll give you another very क्या बोलते हैं इसको लेके, फिर you say HR is a resource, human resource. Why do you call humans as resource? That's my point of view again. These resources that you hire, are they coals, petrols, diesel, something like that? Because that is how you call them as natural resources, right? So you burn them and you throw them, or you make some additional product from the byproduct of after they are burnt. Now, one angle, it's a resource for you, so you need to burn it out so that you can get energy, that is the productivity and the business results. But at point of time, that resource will be done because you have already burned it to its core. Now, during the burning process, I have two aspects of it. During the burning process, because you are also a resource for the organization, irrespective of your department. That guy, say you are a sales guy, I'm an HR guy, you are also a resource, I'm a resource. मैंने तुमको इतना जलाया बाहर रह के, मैं उस एम्प्लॉइज यार छोड़ के चले जा रहे हैं.
लॉयल्टी नहीं है.
Loyal to the organization. I don't know, means why? हाँ,
Yes.
आप सवाल तब पूछ सकते हो जब उसी फाउंड्री में आप खुद को भी जलाए हो, तब आपको समझ में आएगा इट वाज नॉट द केस ऑफ लॉयल्टी, इट वाज द केस ऑफ ओवरबर्निंग, कि आपने इतना जला दिया उसको, रिसोर्स को, कि उसके पास और कुछ नहीं बचा है देने के लिए. एंड दैट इज हाउ आई पर्सनली ऑल्सो थिंक, कि हम सोचते हैं ना कि हम अर्ली एक्टिशन की बात करते हैं, ऑल द एनालिटिक्स डैशबोर्ड की ऑनबोर्डिंग अच्छा होना चाहिए, बढ़िया होना चाहिए, गिव देम कॉस्टली लैपटॉप्स, एक मग दे दो, एक ये दे दो, वो दे दो. Good, no doubt. That is also an indirect marketing. When they post it on their LinkedIn platform, you get an indirect. So आपने marketing का cost कम कर दिया. Fair enough, good. Early attrition जब होता है तब सब मतलब we used to deal with such calls. Like in my area also, at a certain point of time, I was there in part of UP circle. Attritions were very high. Early attritions, 0 to 6 months. High means state ka high. Good. My next question is, do we do the same analysis for the 10 years, 15 years, 17 years glorified employees जिनको अब हर 5 साल में एक गोल सा लिख के, congratulations for your 5 years, congratulations for 10 years, उस पे एनालिसिस करते हो कि are they actually beneficial to the organization, or you are promoting how do you frame the word, mediocrity or the comfort zone of an employee? कोई नहीं देखता है. Because you start boasting, I have 10 to 15 years, I have 30% base. But क्या आप उस पे एनालाइज कर रहे हो कि are they giving you that productive level? वो भी कोयला है, 6 महीने में जो जा रहा है वो भी कोयला है. बट ये चारकोल भाई, ये 15 साल चारकोल भाई, ये जलेगा नहीं, ये धीमे धीमे आग नए वाले से ही निकलेगा, नया कोयला है. See, maybe these things very senior leaders in the organization won't find funny, or maybe बहुत सारा इसमें whenever you publish this, मैं इंडस्ट्री से seclude हो जाए, I don't care, trust me. But these are the questions because I have always been an unapologetic HR. मैं इतना proudly बोल सकता हूँ कि as an HR आज तक मेरे पीठ पीछे किसी एम्प्लॉय ने मेरे को गाली नहीं दिया. I'm that so much. क्योंकि ना मैंने उसके पीठ पीछे और ना मैंने उसको अलाउ किया कि मेरे पीठ पीछे जो बोलना है भाई सामने बोलो. और जब सामने बोलना होता है, मैंने उसकी डिपार्टमेंट का सवाल, ये तो रंगोली एचआर है नहीं, ये तो सेल्स एचआर है. एससीएम वाला बोलते हैं तो एससीएम एचआर है. आपको पोस्ट चलाना आना चाहिए. जब सेल्स वाले बंदे के साथ आपको, आई हैड वर्कड इनटू अ फूड रिटेल आउटलेट, मैंने एयरपोर्ट में कियोस्क में खड़े होके कस्टमर डील किया है, आयरेट कस्टमर भी डील किया है, कि मैंने चिकन, बंदे ने चिकन पैटीज की जगह वेज पैटीज दे दिया, या वेज पैटीज की जगह चिकन पैटीज दे दिया. मैं जा रहा था राउंड पे, वहां पे चल रहा है ऑन द पीक्स, I had to intervene because मैं बोल सकता हूँ the floor manager is there, let him handle. Why? Because I own the brand, I own the outlet, the revenue generated from that store, I get a salary from that. So I get into it. I ask the customer, this happened. I ask this guy, and then finally it's a handshake at the end of the day of the discussion. Simple. So these are very fine-tuning roles. My basic principle in HR is seat पे बैठ के HR नहीं हो. I saw one of the some other senior colleague
Yeah.
very rightly said, starting mein bola, HR is not an employee code for you. And unless you move out of your comfort zone, your seat, your laptop, then you start knowing people by their name, their family issues. They were admitted in the hospital, and you just meet him after a week's time. When you ask Rishikesh, assuming your wife's name is say Lata, hi Rishikesh, how's Lata been doing? Other than if being a typical HR, hi Rishikesh, I hope everything is okay at your end. You just analyze the two statements. The first
Yes.
one makes a huge impact. The next time he will look up to you with regards, not as a Rangoli HR.
Yes.
So these are the aspects where, trust me, because now again repeating, HR
Mm,
has become a jargon game, a jargon word. किसको कितना आता है, that's it. But unless you have lived the life, you cannot be an HRBP, HR business partner, unless you know the business. Last but not the least, again, you need to actually get into uncomfortable situations first. अगर मैं junior HR भी हूँ, I look forward for my senior manager to get into the trouble. You know that the sales head had been uh, क्या you know what happens in sales calls, Monday, Tuesdays, late night calls. So I have another case. We used to get कि रात के 9:30 बजे, 10:30, 11 o'clock, we used to have con calls of the sales team. Or दिन में कभी भी you just give 5 minutes in a WhatsApp group and say join in 5 minutes. We raised it to the area business head, and he did not pay a heed to it.
mm,
I escalated it to my state level. They did not pay a heed to it. Then when the circle head came down to visit,
mm,
I sat with him. He was there with me one to one. You tell me what's going on in your area. He was trying to test me whether I know what's going on in the area. I said, sir, this is this what happens every day. This only 5 minutes, and there's no structured call times, everything. And also right 11:30, 12 o'clock, the con calls are going on. When will my guys sleep? When will they go to market? Because again, at 11:30 and early morning 6:30, they used to have a call. And I said, give them some breathing time. Now, when this escalated to the HR, state HR head, I was in a soup.
yes.
I was about to tell him in the next meeting, the who asked you? That is where HR goes wrong.
Mm,
And maybe I was not penalized, but yes, I was in a different domain in his mind because it was not something which is personal to me. It's hampering my employee's life. And trust me, when the next mail came or the WhatsApp circulation happened that from for my area or for the entire state, sales truck also are being structured. So it's just a small daring that you had to do. That's it. किसी को पता नहीं चला कि सागर चक्रवर्ती did that. Only few of them knew. But that you actually earn blessings.
yes.
So whenever I had a sort of retirement from the organizational transfers or the organization to organization movements,
Mm,
I have seen people crying with along with me as well in the courts. But
yes.
yes, I have seen people with moist eyes because I had not been their HR ever.
Mm,
HR को आजकल एक टेंडेंसी होता है मुझे HR बनना है.
mm,
I need to show that I am HR. Why? Be a normal guy. और
mm,
आपको सब खबर ऐसे ही आते रहेगी. I used to know कैसे
mm,
सिम forgery हो रहा है, activation forgery हो रहा है. And when I said that to my sales head, told that to my sales head, and he was like, "How do you know that?" And I said, "There is a technical lagging, 2 सेकंड का गैप होता है, उसमें दूसरा बंदा खड़ा करके उसके आधार को मैपिंग करके ये कर देते हैं. तो एक ही क्लिक में दो सिम कार्ड उनका एक्टिवेट हो."
mm,
6 days, 5 days, that time lapse went up. And then it was only one click, one SIM activation. That is how you help business. इसमें कोई डिटेक्टिव मैं नहीं कर रहा हूँ. हाँ,
mm,
but you need to have that information source because when you are centered somewhere and you have a large widespread geography to manage. I used to have 6-7 districts, 17 centers, and 164 sub centers with an employee base of 2.5-3,000, including the networks. Organization में भी होता है off roll on roll. This is another thing which I really hate.
mm,
वो तो ऑफ रोल, कोई एक बंदा ऑफ रोल का ना उनका कुछ हो गया था. Boss, that guy is working for your organization. The payrolls might be different. You pay the primary employer, secondary employer, and so on and so forth. आपके compliance के लिए बोलना ठीक है, but that guy is also doing some work which is generating revenue for your organization.
yes.
कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. जैसे I have very good relationship with these SLP guys because half of maximum 90% of them come from the armed forces. So why? Because unka working culture, unka working mode is something sort of mine. Everybody contributes, starting from a Lance Naik to a
Mm,
Major Sab to a Colonel Sab to a everything. That is how it should work. Now,
yes.
knowing the nerves of the employee, when you meet an ex-army in your organization, always start the conversation with Jai Hind. You have earned 30% of his heart in the first two words, Jai Hind, because they are used to that.
Mm.
Now, in a typical non corporate environment on the field, you meet a Gujarati or something, you say Jai Shri Krishna. That connects the bond. For that, you need to know, because I have worked in multicultural dimensions. So I have
Yes.
worked in Uttar Pradesh, I have worked in Madhya Pradesh, I've been to Mumbai for almost together 1 year. I have worked predominantly in Bengal. And Bengal also, working with a Bihari, working with a Jharkhandi, working with an Odia. I've been into Odia. Sambalpur is different from Balasore, is different from Cuttack, is different from. I've been to Bihar, Muzaffarpur, Patna. These difficult territories, unless people say they are very difficult territories. No. I was
Mm.
part of an edtech where the students used to like kids. These are kids, class 12 guys or dropouts, hardly 18, 19 years of old.
Mm.
And they're creating tamasha, not coming in with ID cards. They're not wearing the edtech company's dress. I stopped the classes that day. I just called up my regional director and said, sir, I'm going to stop all the classes today. And I'm not allowing anybody to
Mm.
enter my premises without an ID card and without proper dress. Parents came down that evening. It was such a tense environment. And I'm no sorry. होती है तब जाके मेरा बच्चा भी खाता है sir.
Mm.
So when you are there and confronting 10, 20 angry parents because you have not led them and you have basically missed their 3, 4 final classes before the JEM, they will be irate. But again, we arranged, but I was firm because I was fully dressed.
Mm.
ऐसा नहीं कि I am wearing something which is not the uniform, because HR was there. Initially, we did not have any uniform, but in my region, we started that even HR will be wearing a uniform.
Yes.
And my RD also started wearing a uniform. Trust me. That's I feel good about it. Telling people. I never had to convince him. I said, sir, we are in the regional corporate structure, right? Barring these 25 people of us who are sitting in a different office and managing the entire region, 12 centers, 13 centers, 1,000 odd employees and 30, 50,000 students, we also should be a part of them. And he is a very renowned person in this industry, particularly in the East. And one sentence he agreed. And from the next day onwards, people were like this, my God, RD wearing a uniform. Because they've never seen that guy in uniform. And when RD came in uniform, वो बोलते हैं ना हिंदी में किसी की मजाल नहीं है, even
Mm.
student
Mm.
in a uniform. So these are very, see, people will think I will start bragging myself or something, but these are things which are missing in HR right now. In very like last 5, 6 years what I've worked for, I've
Mm.
seen these things missing. HR is always about arrange a picnic, arrange a rangoli, इसको ये certificate. Why don't you ask that question कि आप उसको productivity certificate दे रहे हो या आप उसको sales champion दे रहे हो? Does he deserve it? आप WhatsApp पे pick your phone, call that guy. As a sales head or an HR, field HR. भाई क्या हो गया आज? Just one sentence. भाई वो क्योंकि everybody gets a pat on his shoulder when he is the highest sales guy. और अकाउंट्स में किसने ज्यादा सेव कर लिया कंपनी का, बट जो लाइमलाइट में नहीं आता. व्हेन यू कॉल दैट गाय एंड से दैट भाई क्या हो गया आज इतना खराब है, इवन लास्ट मंथ यू वर द टॉप सेल्स गाय, बिकॉज़ सेल्स इज ऑल अबाउट नंबर्स. उसका कोई अलग पहचान नहीं, नेम ही डजंट हैव अ एम्प्लॉय कोड, ही इज जस्ट अ नंबर. उसने 1000 सिम सेल्स, 1000 स्टूडेंट्स इन दैट्स इट. बट जैसे ही वो 1000 नहीं हो, वो चारकोल चारकोल बन. और वो फाउंड्री के बाहर एज अ फाउंड्री मैनेजर आपको देखना है कि इसको और जलाना है या अभी धीमे आंच पे पकने दो, इसको टाइम दो और हवादार ऑक्सीजन दो, ये जलेगा. दैट इज वेयर एचआर takes a lead, and that's where HR should take a lead. Last but not the least, you should start confronting your higher management. I have seen this in many CHRs. We are basically an yes man department. CEO ने बुलाया, MD ने बुलाया, डायरेक्टर ने बुलाया, लोग बहुत नीचे ब्रेक पे जा रहे हैं. आप एक मेल कर दो, प्रोडक्टिव आवर्स, नॉन प्रोडक्टिव आवर्स, लंच टाइम यहाँ से यहाँ, आपको ऑफिस इतने बजे ये आना है. It happened with me. I just said, but yes, I had to mail again, confronting the fact because I was not their CHR or something, but I'm just a senior manager and I was reporting to the management. I had to mail, but mail करने से पहले बोला sir, this will create a ruckus in the system and people will start feeling that they're in a school. Hiring graduates, you are hiring tenured employees and you are telling कि आप 9 बजे आ जाना. अब 12 बजे से 1 बजे के 2 बजे के बीच में खाना में जाने, आप सिर्फ 3 बार जा सकते हैं सीट के ऊपर. हम लोग एक जोकिंग करता है, आई डोंट नो वेदर इट बी सूटेबल. मैं बोलता था, मैं क्या सीट पे बैठ गया अंडे. व्हाई? इफ आई से दैट माय एम्प्लॉइज आर टेकिंग ब्रेक, दैट मींस आई एम नॉट मॉनिटरिंग देयर परफॉर्मेंस और प्रोडक्टिविटी. दैट मींस उनके पास 8 घंटे का काम, और अगर है तो आई हैव जीनियस सेट ऑफ एम्प्लॉइज विद मी. आई शुड बी प्राउड ऑफ कि 8 घंटे में अगर 4 घंटे ब्रेक में भी 4 घंटे में वो अपना काम कर लेते हैं. तो आप
Right.
एनालिसिस उसी तरीके से करो कि बंदा नीचे जा, हाँ, हो सकता है स्मोक ब्रेक एवरीथिंग दैट इज़ रिक्वायर्ड, बट कुछ ज़्यादा जाते थे। तो उसका मतलब आइदर दे फिनिश ऑफ देयर वर्क और दे डोंट हैव वर्क। इफ दे डोंट हैव वर्क, आस्क योर मैनेजमेंट व्हाई दे डोंट हैव वर्क? आस्क देयर मैनेजर्स, आस्क देयर सीनियर मैनेजर्स, डिपार्टमेंटल हेड्स एंड मूव लाइक दैट। बट नो, एक डिपार्टमेंट है, एचआर हेड, "ये ज़रा ये, ऐसा-ऐसा हो रहा है, आप एक मेल कर दीजिए।" हू बिकम्स द विलेन? एचआर। मैनेजमेंट को कोई कौन बोलने जाएगा। गाली कौन सुनेगा फ्लोर पे? एचआर पे। आप ही वही डिपार्टमेंट हो जो सबका मतलब I'll tell you one thing. I also feel one another aspect of HR. लोग डॉक्टर से कुछ नहीं छुपाते, नहीं छुपाना चाहिए। वकील से छुपाओ तो ठीक है। वकील और डॉक्टर से कुछ नहीं छुपाना। एचआर से क्यों छुपाते? Because other than your डेबिट कार्ड और क्रेडिट कार्ड पिन, I know everything about you. योर एज, कहाँ से आप पास किए हो, आपके घर में कितने लोग हैं, उनके एज कितने हैं, आपके बैंक अकाउंट, आधार, पैन, the most confidential matlab information about a human being. I'm aware of it. Whether you are a married guy or a divorcee, organization may not know, might not know. I know that you are a divorce guy. आपने सिंगल लिख के रखा है, मेरे डैशबोर्ड में वहां पे डाइवोर्स लिखा हुआ है, तो आप एचआर से क्यों छुपाते हो? पीपल वेरी प्राउडली स्टिकर्स लगाते हैं ना, सीए, डॉक्टर। हम एचआर वालों को भी लगाना चाहिए। आई स्टिल डोंट हैव दैट इन माय कार आल्सो, बट आई फील समटाइम्स कि मुझे भी लगाना लगाना चाहिए, मैं एचआर हूँ, बिकॉज आई एम नो लेस देन अ डॉक्टर एंड अ सीए और अ वकील इन एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन। मैं हूं तो ह्यूमन है, और मैं नहीं
है
आई।
with
एंड
reality.
सी, नॉट ओनली इन दिस प्लेटफॉर्म, बिकॉज थैंक्स टू यू, थैंक्स टू Dawdle that they gave me this platform. हाँ, this I tell to my team who join me, or when I go to the guest lectures in colleges, I always tell them कि आपको एचआर बन है ना, I'll just add another 2 minutes into it. I do a mock exam type of thing, the demos of the students. How? I call up two guys, एक को साइड लेके, आपके घर में आपके पत्नी का कैंसर है, अभी 6 महीने का है, पत्नी 2 महीने में गुजरने ये आपका सिनारियो है, बाकी वो बोलेगा। दूसरा बंदा आता है, आप एचआर हेड हो, आप इसको बंदे को निकालना है, इमीडिएट नोटिस डाल। नाउ यू मेक देम सिट इन फ्रंट, नाउ स्पीक। को बोल के रखा है मुझे पेपर चाहिए, इसको बोल के रखा है तुम पेपर डालोगे, फिर सेंटिमेंटल ग्राउंड पे खेल रोना है। ट्रस्ट मी, जितने भी जगह में ये किया है ना, people have come up, even the professors told me कि yes, people think that HR is all about that glorification, very yo-yo type of department जो हमेशा रंगोली और ये सब करता रहता है। When you face a guy like this, in my entire 17 years career, I can't count how many attrition the these type of attrition interventions that I've been through. जब जूनियर था तब घर में आके रोया भी हूँ, खराब लगा था, I could not had my dinner, but that builds you. And when you go through this process ना, then आपको एक एचआर का अलग एंगल समझ में आता है, but not the unjustified ones कि सेल्स हेड को ये बंदे का तो चेहरा पसंद नहीं है, या वो सेल्स हेड को एज अ गॉड नहीं मानता है, यू नो द बेटर वर्ड, तो निकाल दो। नो, मेरे पास रिक्वेस्ट, मैं खंगाल दूंगा 6 महीने का डेटा उसका, कि बताओ क्यों देना है। लास्टली टेन्योर में पीआईपी देना बंद हो, बिकॉज आई यूज्ड टू आस्क सो मेनी क्वेश्चंस कि आई विल गिव पीआईपी ओनली व्हेन इट इज जस्टिफाइड दैट वेदर दिस गाय डिजर्व्स पीआईपी और नॉट, एंड इफ दिस गाय डिजर्व्स एंड ही हैज नॉट क्वालिफाइड द पीआईपी थिंग्स, किसी को मिलने की जरूरत नहीं है, उसको हेडक्वार्टर में मैं मिलूंगा। In my edtech thing, I had almost 15, 16 resignations in almost the last 6 seconds of my career there. And they were all tenured guys, 10 years, 15 years. Because we did a project where we took the students' satisfaction surveys at the regional level, at the classroom levels. I have spoken to the guys one to one, like we have taken top 10% of the students, the bottom 10% of the students. Ki sabka, why will I listen to only the good guy, good students?
Yes.
पूरे स्टूडेंट का भी सुनते हैं ना। We came up to like 20-25 faculties who were not adding values. Early attrition is good, now where it relates to, but those 10-15 years, are you supporting mediocrity in your organization? अपने एसेट बना के रख दिया है, बहुत पुराने, बहुत एक्सपीरियंस फैकल्टीज है, ट्रस्ट मी, दे वर नॉट एडिंग एनी वैल्यूज, एंड आई हैड sat with them personally one to one and have taken them through the entire formal termination or resignation process as per the needs. That's where you need to be a human. Resource आते रहेगा, जाते रहेगा. Your work is to be human and not let the organization run inhuman. That's all.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on this session and sharing all these insights with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rishikesh. Pleasure talking to you. Thank
Same
you
here.
so much.